this case, we actually want to blur it. So it's up to you as to how much you sort of show, really. Hi there. So I thought I would help you guys out, in particular, Lisa Tonia's Moritz, who'd posted a question into the lovely Canva Crew Facebook group about wanting to know how to blur just a specific small area on her picture so that she could hide a name of the client, so she could do a bit of a before and after. So I'm going to show you one way that you could do that. So I've prepared a Canva page. So this is Lisa. So this is what she's doing at the moment. And she was struggling to find a way of being able to hide things. So I'm going to show you how you could recreate the one that's on the left here, where she's got sort of I guess file names showing how she's organized the photos within a digital format. So I've recreated it by creating a bit of a screenshot of my own picture folder within, so you get a bit of a behind the scenes of some of my laptop. And what I've done is mimicked what she's done with the this file here, this family timeline one here. I put my name here. And so the idea is that my name there is the client name, and we're going to try and blur it out. So how you can do that is you can use something called edit image, and you've got the adjust tool. And in this bit here, you can't really see it at the moment. But before we get into blurring it and doing stuff, what I suggest that we do is make a copy of this, because we want to have one which is as it is with no blur, and we want one on top that will have the blur. So I'm going to make a copy of it. It does sort of offset it a bit, so I'm going to put it exactly on top, and then I'm going to just crop into it a bit more so that we can see and go a bit closer up into it. We can fine tune this box afterwards, so I'm not too worried that there's bits there that will be blurred that we don't want blurred, because we can move this box. So what you need to do is go to edit image, and it's the adjust tool. So click on see all, and within here you've got the blur option. So you can actually make it even sharper, which is quite nice for adding a certain level of crispness to images. But in this case, we actually want to blur it. So it's up to you as to how much you sort of show, really. You might find that by typing in the number will get you a sort of that fine tune, rather than using the slider if you're struggling to get what you want. So at the moment on 3, you can still see my name. So maybe 4 would be a better option, or maybe going back to even 5, which is what we had before, I think a moment ago. So that's probably a good amount where you can see that there's words there, but you can't see exactly what's going on there. You can't read it. So if we come off, I want to get rid of the adjust bit. So now we've got that area blurred, but what we want to do is just blur the name rather than everything else. So it's up to you how much you blur. And in this case, it's, you can see that there's a bit of a sharp edge there. There's not really a lot we can do about that. If you're using something that's more like Photoshop, you can have the blurring on there and having a blurred feathered edge round it. But in this case, no. So you've got to have that. I guess what's the compromise here? If you really want it to have that blurred look, this is one way of doing it. So if you've got multiple bits that you want to have blurred, like other areas, so on this picture here, it looks like that maybe there's, I guess there's either stickers or boxes that she's put on top. If you wanted that to be blurred because it's got names, family names on there, you can do the same principle as this, but it would just be a case of you would need to be doing a fair bit of copying and pasting to get that same. You're going to have to sort of overlap them So let's show you what I mean by that. So say this word Zoom here is another name, just so that we can get that example. What you can do is go back to how we did it just a moment ago. You could copy that, making sure that you move it so it's back in place. You want something to sort of anchor it in place so that you can line it up, and do the same like that, and go back. I would probably use the same setting of blur. So we use 5, worked quite well. And then you can again adjust it to where you want it to be. But if you wanted to do it that you didn't want to keep going back into the adjust to add the blur, is you could just copy and paste this bit here and move it around. So I'm going to make photos to print blurred. And the way I'm going to do that is double clicking on it, and you can see the outline of the box here. So we want to line it up. I very deliberately made the edge of this image fit to the top, bottom, and over to the left of this, so that I've got something that I can line them all up. So it means that that's already done. And if you've got multiple areas on a picture that you need to make blurred, this might be a quicker way of doing it. So you're just making sure that you line it up. So I'm going to make the baby bump one over here. I'm going to blur that as well. All you need to do is same again. You're double clicking on it and moving it to where it needs to be. It's already the same size. You want to make sure that you don't start adjusting the size. You need to keep all the dimensions the same, and then you've now got that blurred bit. So if I show you the before, so that's the before, and then that's the after with the blurred areas. And you can use this principle with any type of image. If there's bits you want to blur, that there is going to be limitations, of course, but it's something to keep in mind. So I hope that helps you, Lisa, and anyone else who watches along. Feel free to comment, whether you found this helpful or not. And if there's a future question that you have that it's just easier for me to jump on, record a little video, I'll do so. But when I saw Lisa's question, I was like, well, I could explain it, but I think it's a little bit too complicated. So in this particular case, I did a little video. So feel free to post your questions into the group, share what you're working on, and thank you for all the support from the other members answering everyone's questions too. We're all here to help each other. Thanks. Bye.